Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Sunday Musicians Café. I'm really glad that today the guest is Freddie Benedict, a very good friend to me and a fantastic jazz singer. We met in London, obviously, as usual, some time ago. But first of all, I want to say hi to everybody. Welcome to another episode. And please do send any message, question you have during the live chat. Feel free to ask anything to us that we might have be able to answer. I hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday afternoon, chilling. I bet from a busy week of work, or maybe not. I don't know. You were in vacation, lucky you. If you are new to this project, let me just say a couple of things to quickly explain what is this about. So I'm Pietro, an Italian violinist, and I founded this project last year. And I've been doing, I think this is the 38th episode, if I'm not mistaken. And I've been inviting friends and musicians I've met during my life, let's say, and which I find obviously inspiring and with a nice story behind, to have a chat, an informal chat on Sundays. That's why it's called Sunday Musicians Café. And it's very, the idea behind this project is to show that the music is not, unfortunately still today, in 2024, people still don't get that music can be a job. So this is the idea, right? So to show that being a musician means that you are working in the music industry, and it means that there are multiple ways of being a musician, obviously, and to do what you love the most. I hope you're good, and again, please do send any feedback, any message, any curiosity you have in the chat here below if you feel like with Freddie Benedict. Freddie is not only a good friend to me, but he's an incredible jazz singer, and he has a classical background as well, and he will tell us more about his background here in London. But one of the things that struck me the most when I saw him live the first time was the multilinguist skill that he has. He sings in, 4 or 5 different languages, including Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, and obviously English, and I bet also French, a bit of French. And he's good at all of them. So it's not just, like mocking some languages, but he's really good. He's really good singing those with those languages, and honestly, it looks like he is a native speaker when he sings in that language, and he's so charming. He's so charming that once I organized a concert here in London, and I invited him to participate with his band. And it was incredible. It was just incredible. The people were like standing ovation, and obviously, but people were on their feet because it's so charming and so attractive as a singer, but with the group as well. He sings very often in the Hampstead Jazz Club. So if you happens to be in London and to go to the Hampstead Jazz Club, you most probably will see Freddie. And it's really good. And I'm really glad that he was able to join us today for this lovely chat. And as you see, I'm inviting all of very different people in this podcast. So if you also have a suggestion about a name of someone that you would like me to interview, do please send any suggestion. I'll take them very willingly, and I'm very happy to receive any feedback as well about the project, or some things that you think I should improve. And but I think we should invite Freddie and talk about his career. He's traveling so much. He's always in Spain, in France. So that's why it was very difficult to schedule to schedule this podcast with this episode with him, because obviously his musician's life is quite crazy. I don't know how many of you that are following now are musicians, but I'm sure that if you've been in contact with some musicians, our life is quite crazy, as you can see. We always travel and we always do crazy stuff. and for us to schedule just to see each other for a coffee, it's so hard, it's so difficult. That's why partially I wanted to do this project, because I realized I wasn't able to see my friends for a coffee, for just a coffee, to see each other and to have a chat, you know. And that was, I was kind of sad, you know, about that, because I was like, I would like to meet this guy again. I would like to see this person, you know, that I've met in a gig, or you know, in a festival or whatever. But there is no time, there is never time. So I created a project where we not only we have a chat together with friends about things that or memories, you know, about how we met and everything, but also to, you know, to make it public, so we can share our experience with you guys, and probably also trying to break this barrier between the performers and the audience, right? I mean, obviously this is a very fashionable thing nowadays, and to have this this attitude to try to make classical music accessible, but not only classical music. As you can see today, it's a jazz singer. I mean, Freddie is a jazz singer, and he has a wonderful YouTube video with James Taylor, September Grass, which is a lovely song. And he's doing lots of projects at the moment around London. Also, Bond in Candlelight. I don't know if you've ever been to a Candlelight concert. They are great. I played them many times in a Candlelight concert, and people just love them. And the atmosphere is incredible, and it's really nice actually to play for those concerts, because obviously when the people are so warm and they enjoy so much, the concert is it's such a pleasure for us also to play for them, yeah. And he's doing a tour, I think, in the UK with Candlelight, setting up a nice gig called Bond. I think Bond in Candlelight. I think he's singing like the songs of James Bond soundtracks or something like that. Let's see if he's available, because I would like really to invite him to have this chat and to tell us more about all of this project he's carrying at the moment. Let's text him and see if he's around. How are you guys? All good? I hope you're fine and having a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Where are you listening from? I'm always very curious to see where you're listening from, and do please tell me where are you at the moment. And sometimes I receive messages from Mexico, from United States, and I realize the time gap is crazy, and I like they are waking up with Sunday Musicians Café. So some followers are so dedicated, and I'm really glad for that. And thank you so much for supporting all the way this year. This project has been really a pleasure, and I really have good news for the future as well, hopefully. And I'm trying to enlarge this project to a bigger scale, possibly, and to help to find some help to do things a bit better. Hopefully he will join very soon. Do you have any questions to me, for me, that you want me to answer? Some people are saying UK, okay, nice. davistm.mk, hi, from UK, same here, based in London. Some people from Mexico, from people from Portugal. Fantastic. I see Freddie is now in the chat, so we can invite him.
Ciao.
Amazing. Ciao. That's it. That's it. I was just saying that one of the things that struck me the most was your multilinguist singing, and you say ciao, obviously. Thank you so much, Freddie. Welcome to Freddie to Sunday Musicians Café. Thank you, everybody, for following. And guys, look at this face. Isn't it beautiful?
I don't know about that, but you're too kind. You're too kind.
No, 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 no. I know you're so charming, and one of the things that in the concerts, I was telling the audience before that we met. One of the first time we met actually was for a gig I set up for you. It
Yes,
was a concert in Hampstead, and I remember very clearly that our friend in common, Jose, which I'm, by the way, who I'm seeing very soon. I'm seeing very soon at the end of May. So I
amazing.
will. Yes, yes. I know you've been to Valencia as well, yeah, right?
Yeah, we went. I took my trio there in March. It was amazing. My first time in Valencia. Amazing weather, amazing people, lots of lovely paella and some oranges. It was very good. All those lovely oranges. I want to come back for the oranges, you know.
Yes, I believe you. I believe you. I know what you mean. Listen, I was saying so the first time I met you, but you were so charming, and I was so impressed. And you were born a performer, Freddie.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. I mean, I guess I come from a performing family. Both my parents trained as actors and form their own company and make voices for film and TV. So I guess I've kind of been used to that slightly unconventional upbringing, you know, of
Yeah.
having artsy fartsy parents. And then my brother is an actor as well. So I
Oh,
guess it
really?
only
I
sort of
didn't know.
seemed right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in fact, he's running a workshop today in the heart of Soho. He's doing like a young actors workshop
Amazing.
at the French House pub in Soho. It's
Okay.
a beautiful
Beautiful.
pub, French pub. So anyway, that's what
Amazing,
he's doing. But
amazing.
yeah,
So I actually didn't say that much about your background, but you're telling us all of this, and then it makes very much sense because obviously I was obviously saying how much I love your performances and how versatile as well you are, because you did some classical training when you were a kid, I believe. And you can see not only from the technique you have, but also the stage presence, right? And the seriousness also in a way, let me pass the terminology about how you approach music, right? So very, very professional in a way, right? And but do tell us, how was your journey? How do you decided to go through the jazz, more to the jazz path, let's say? And if there were any encounters that you, all right, that's my way. I don't know.
well, I've always loved music from a very very early age, and I joined. I mean, I got into jazz a little later when I was maybe sort of 16 or 17 at school. I had a fantastic teacher who was a big inspiration to me. But before I kind of go into that, my love of music started as a young sort of 8, 9 year old. I joined a local church choir in southwest London in Tooting
Hmm.
Bec, and I got into just the concept of singing in harmony, singing hymns and psalms, and meeting new people. And obviously, as an 8 year old, there's a little bit daunting, but you know, you kind of go to church and meet people and sing songs,
Yeah.
then leave. And I think it was that thing that my parents kind of wanted me to go to church to sort of have that experience of knowing what it was like as just to be part of a community um, whilst making great music. So that kind of was my first start, and then I did lots of music at my primary school. I was in lots of school plays. I started learning the trumpet, and then when I went to secondary school, I went to a fantastic school in South London in Croydon called Trinity School,
Mm.
which really helped me with my musical training and formation. And I became the head chorister there and did lots and lots of classical music. And it was only really, as I said, when I was about 16 or 17,
Hmm.
maybe 15 or 16, that I got into jazz. I had a fantastic teacher who is now a good friend of mine
Mm.
called Michael L. Roberts. And Michael L. Roberts not only is a fantastic jazz musician in his own right, but was a vocal and piano coach, or is a vocal
Okay.
and piano coach on lots of big films. And his big film was he coached Taron Egerton in the Elton John
Oh, wow.
biopic, the Elton John movie. So
Oh,
he's
wow.
a
Okay.
seriously big deal, super nice guy from Merthyr Tydfil in Wales. Yeah, he got me into jazz, and he made me listen to some records when I was a kid. In particular, was this lovely standard called Nature Boy, who written by a Californian hipster dude who lived out in the desert and was a hermit called Eden Arbez, and
Oh,
he got me to
interesting. Okay.
listen to Kurt Elling's version of Nature Boy, who's one of my sort of heroes in the vocal jazz world. And in fact, he's actually coming to London this week. He's performing, with a contemporary of mine,
You gotta
a
meet him.
drummer called.
You gotta meet him.
Well, I've met him a couple of times, but
Okay.
unfortunately, I've actually got a gig this Wednesday at Pizza Express on Dean Street doing the music of the Beatles,
Oh,
which
wow.
we sold out about a week or two ago. So that's going to be exciting. But unfortunately, we both have gigs that night. I never thought I'd say I have a gig the same night as Kurt Elling in London, but there you go. So,
You
dreams
never know.
dreams
You never
can come
know.
true. You put your mind
Yes.
to it, and anything can happen. So.
Could you say that actually your dream came true, or is a process that's still understanding how you, because maybe you visualized when you were a teenager this kind of life, or you never expected this result?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, I wasn't particularly academic at school, and I was only really good at music and languages. So for me, my career path turned out to be a fairly simple one in terms of choice making. Now, whether that meant that I could have lasted and had a career in what I'm doing now is a completely different matter. And I didn't really necessarily think I could pursue this as a full-time career. Like, I always loved it. It was a hobby. I did a lot of it. And then really, as I kind of left school and got to university, I
Yeah.
sort of realized, oh, maybe this could be a thing. So in a way, yeah, I guess I am living the dream. There's definitely a part of me that thinks, amazing. I get to sing
Yeah.
old songs to drunk people. It's great.
I love this way.
Yeah.
I love this way of.
What an amazing thing.
Yeah.
So that was in that sense, yeah, it's a great experience, and I get to play in some lovely places. The thing that I'm doing at the moment, which is my big, exciting project, is that I'm recording, well, I have recorded 7 tracks, which have been mixed, and I've had like a basic mastering done to them, and I'm hoping to sort of send the tracks into people to try and get the traction I think they deserve, and that's my sort of next step. So I think the
Nice.
dream will really become sort of fully alive if and when I release all this music. So that's the thing I'm really looking forward to the most, really, of everything that I'm doing.
This is great. This is great. I was thinking, but maybe is there anything that you surprised you in this career that you didn't expect and you were not prepared for it, and then you saying like, okay, maybe this I didn't expect this outcome, and I don't know how to handle it. And ever happened to you something related to this career?
Not necessarily, not necessarily. I mean, I've had some lovely surprises along the way, and definitely had some kind of random gigs or random functions that I've done where I didn't necessarily expect to be in a particular place or
Mm.
time. Like, for example, just last weekend, I was covering on a private function for a very good friend of mine, James Hudson, who's a jazz singer in his own right, and has an album out called Moonray. So, a little plug for James. Just check it out.
Nice. Check it out.
I did a gig for him. It was a private booking, and it turned out that it ended up being for the boxing promoter Eddie Hearn, who is like the manager and guy for like all the famous boxers around the world. And I just
Oh,
did a little
wow.
gig
Okay.
singing jazz standards in his house when he had a Sunday lunch with only 10 people, and we were a jazz group like right at the back singing songs. I thought, this is possibly the most surreal thing ever. I mean, for a guy like
Yeah.
me who's really into like watching sport and following sport, as well as my love and passion of music, that was a really kind of interesting thing to bring
Yeah.
those worlds together. And I guess the international bookings are always very exciting and take me by surprise. But there've never been any sort of there's occasionally been like you get certain gigs that come in really last minute, and
Mm.
then you kind of have this weird thing of like, I need to try and do the best that I can, but I can't put too much pressure on myself, because ultimately I'm here to save the day because the singer couldn't come for whatever reason. So I did one of those sort of surprise ones was last year. I did a gig in February last year in a big theatre down in Hastings in the south of England for quite a famous BBC radio DJ called Tony Blackburn. And the singer on that particular gig, who was supposed to sing, had a family emergency. And with a few days' notice, I had to learn all of this music. Obviously, I couldn't learn it off book because it was like 100 medleys of rock and roll songs. So I just had to like turn up, I had the iPad there, just sort of did my best to sight read the stuff. And,
of course, yeah.
And it was an amazing thing because they were all so nice. They were all so welcoming. They really wanted me to do well. And I played in front of like 500-600 people, one of the biggest audiences I've ever done. And I even got a special mention at the end to say, by the way, this guy has come in last minute to, you know,
that's good.
do a job. And it was just really nice. So again, I guess little moments like that take you by surprise, and then you just think, how lovely to get asked and be thought of.
I mean, obviously, I have so many questions about the way you do things, but I would save some for us.
Sure.
So are you performing mostly with your trio, or sometimes you go just by yourself and you put tracks and stuff, or how do you perform the most of the time?
To be honest, every week is very different.
Okay.
I could be doing like a lot of my, you know, what we would call like bread and butter work, you know, the work that sort of pays the rent or whatever, or mortgage or whatever people have these days, you know, can go to, will be kind of trio and duo groups playing in bars and hotels and clubs. Then I've got my original project, which is, you know, when budget allows in this day and age, because of, you know, COSI live, you know, cost of living crisis.
Yes.
Then I've got my sextet, which is great. So that would be vocals, my trumpet playing as well.
That's great.
Piano, bass, drums, guitar, and sax. Sometimes I play with big bands and orchestras. So, for example, on Wednesday I'm playing with in the big band of my very good friend Sam Every. He's got a fantastic big band. He does all these lovely arrangements of tunes from standards to James Bond tunes to Beatles songs. So, and I love that kind of music. But honestly, it's hard to answer that question, Pietro, because every week is very different. But I really like that because it's not too repetitive, and I'm able to kind of flex different muscles and have a different mindset when I go into performing or when I go into having a show. So it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I just wanted to ask that question because I know you're quite versatile, and the beauty of it as well, that you can actually change the setup all the time, and every week it can be different, but yourself, I mean, you're always the same. You have always, I guess, the same approach, professional approach to every kind of group. So this is very important to share, I guess.
Yes.
And yes. And I saw you doing Bond with candlelight.
Yes, that's one of the things I'm doing at the moment. Yeah, fantastic tour.
It's so
great
good.
Group of people. I love, as I say, like singing with orchestras and big bands are just brilliant. There's nothing better as a vocalist than, you know, kind of commanding that front bit of stage and just telling your story or whatever the interpretation of the song is to lots of different people. And so to be doing it in lots of different cathedrals is fantastic.
Yes.
So for those who don't know or who don't follow me, I've been doing this James Bond tour around lots of cathedrals up and down England and Scotland, and we started last month.
But you basically sing the soundtrack. So what do you do? What does it mean, Bonds?
Yeah, so singing all the soundtracks to all of the James Bond films, all of the main songs. So obviously, as a male vocalist, there aren't as many to interpret or sing.
Yeah.
So it's me and two fantastic singers, Katie Bertil and Georgia Van Etten. You should check them out. Really, really good singers. Yeah. And we start. So the next one, the one and only date I can't do is next weekend down in Chichester. But I'm doing the other dates, which are in Exeter, Gloucester, Manchester,
amazing,
Birmingham, and Scotland, in Edinburgh and Glasgow, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yes, absolutely. It looks like a very fun project as well to do. And I played myself in candlelight projects, and it's always
amazing.
Yes, multiple times. I mean, many churches as well. But I love those kind of concerts because people are so looking forward to the performance. So you really feel the warmth from the audience, right? So you really feel like they are they are so much looking forward to listen to you,
Mm,
and that's so lovely. I don't know if you feel the same. I guess so, but it's so wonderful.
absolutely.
Listen, but your life is quite, as we can see, it's hectic and very very complicated. And how do you self manage all of this, or you have management behind?
It's all part of the Freddie management. Just me on my own, just about surviving. I'm not sure how I do it, but it's fun. I mean, I think like a lot of musicians and performing artists. I mean, I don't know how they do it, but I imagine that people kind of get up on Monday morning, look at the schedule for the week, and go, right, I've got this to do. I've got to practice this. I've got to fit in doing my gig. Have I got my tuxedo
Yeah,
washed, my shirts
yeah,
pressed? It's like
yeah.
all these things you have to think about. Have I had a haircut? Have I got this?
Yes.
So it's pretty hectic, but then I like the sort of sense of adventure. I had work experience age 16 in an office for 2 weeks and went,
Oh,
this is not for me.
yeah.
And I was ill for 3 of those days, so I only did 10 days. And even with 10 days, I said, no, I'm still not doing this. There's no way I
Yeah,
can,
yeah,
no
yeah.
way I can make this work.
I
So
get you. I feel you
yeah,
completely. Yeah, yeah,
I
I
can't
get you. I
imagine
get you.
doing anything else in my life, really. I can't. So
But
I,
so
I mean,
so
I,
I
but I
mean,
can't do anything else. So
yeah.
so I
No,
don't have
no,
much of a
no, this
choice.
is nah, this is not true. I know you're very talented and you could do everything, but we have to follow what we like, obviously. And I
Of
completely
course.
understand what you're talking about. And but so tell us what's the secret for self-management that way. So for time management, how do you schedule your day? I mean, how can you be so efficient and still be alive?
Very good question. I think uh, I think that the important thing in this day and age, one of the things I learned from the period of COVID was that everybody I know that was kind of a jobbing musician was sort of overdoing it and working because it was that kind of thing of I need to work, I get a job, I need to earn money because the next job pays the next meal, which pays the next bill, which pays the next blah blah blah. And I think one of the things that we've learnt is sort of not to make sure you have a good balance.
Hmm.
I think in the week for me, it's like, doing my best to eat the right things, drink the right things, go to the gym when I can, go and see my friends because that's also important. One of the sort of big sacrifices we make is not being able to see
Yes.
friends and family a lot,
Yes.
unless it's the holidays. So that's really important. And then obviously taking the work when you can, because obviously most of my work is in the evening. So I think if you have the right balance of, work and leisure and rest, sleeping is such an important part of my recovery. So quite often, I can't say I'm the best when it comes to waking up in the morning. Those who know me, I'm pretty sure my girlfriend can attest to this. I'm not very good at getting up in the morning, but I make sure that I sleep the number of hours I absolutely need to sleep, and it always affects me vocally. Like if I haven't been able to sleep as well, it definitely, or I can feel it, and it shows. Not necessarily to other people watching, but I can definitely feel it. So I think that's the best way to manage yourself. It's all about balance, all about an
Yeah.
equilibrium, and making sure. I'd say those three things: sort of work, work, leisure, social stuff,
Yeah.
and then eating, drinking the right things combined with good rest.
Yeah.
It's very important.
I mean, that's obviously it's very important to keep in mind, and I can see that you're doing very well. I mean, and it's very impressive that at your age, how old are you now, Freddie? You're super young.
Relative. I think I'm still relatively young. 28? Is that young?
No, you're very young. Yes, yes, you're still
Yeah,
very
yeah,
young.
yeah.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
doing very
phew.
well. You're you're
I'm
doing
I'm
very
getting
well.
there.
You're doing
I'm
very
getting
well.
there.
Doing very well. But and I mean, I was thinking, what about, I mean, how much you practice, right? Because I was thinking, by obviously myself and classical musicians most of the time, we tend to over practice sometimes,
Mm,
but we also really need to practice because it's such a physical thing to keep in
yeah.
shape, you know. I don't know how it works for jazz singers. I guess you practice the same amount of hours. How much you practice?
It's funny. I've always had a weird relationship with practice. For me, it's not about the number of hours I do, because I could be in a darkened room for 8 hours and practice and then only do 2, 3 hours of singing. Because, singing wise, and especially like even as a trumpet player, you can't play for that number of hours until your lips are
Yeah.
knackered, your chops are exhausted. You know, vocally you're exhausted. So for me, it's about practicing smart, and it's about practicing efficiently. So for me, if I've got to learn new rep, reading new charts, that kind of thing's what I tend to do. And obviously, apart from warming up, warm
Yeah.
downs, vocal
Yeah.
exercises, improvisation techniques, for me, it's all about, yeah, I don't practice hours and hours, but the few hours that I do practice, I really make sure I'm fully engaged. You know,
Yeah.
my phone is switched off. I've got, you know, everything that I need to do. Understand what the task is at hand, and just, yeah, it's all about efficiency and short, concentrated lengths rather than hours and hours.
You do actually switch off your phone? Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, switch it off, stick it on airplane
Yes.
mode, but you know, just so that I don't get things come in, because I think we live in a day and age now where, I mean, even I do it. I get caught, just like I scroll through reels on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm like, I've just spent half an hour just doing this. What is wrong with me? Like,
Yes,
I need
yes,
to,
yes.
you know,
I
I'm not a Gen Z or a Gen Y kid. You know, I'm a millennial. I've got, you know, I was that last generation that grew up with, you know, Action Man and looking through the car window and seeing sheep in the countryside and not on a tablet like this all the time. So it's important that I remind myself of that. But because how old are you, Pietro, if you don't mind me asking?
26.
26. Yeah.
But I grew up in the same generation. My family is quite traditional and old school. So I grew up without television all my life. Never had television. So we would go to cinema once a week to see a movie, you know, or you know, buy the DVD, or renting it, rent the DVD. You remember?
Yeah.
Oh, good old days when you were renting the DVD. You know? That was it. Listen, I know you're very busy, and I would love to have so many hours with you chatting, but I wish I could, but we cannot. But so we already touched it a bit, but what do you think? I mean, you already gave us many suggestions, and the way you're living your career is already very inspiring to a young musician. But what would you say to your younger self when you were 16? Maybe a mistake, or maybe something that, not a mistake, but something that you wish you would have known before.
To believe in yourself more self-belief. I think one of the things I had was I had a lack of self-confidence, and I always worried about how other people would judge me and think that I'd be like a show off. And I think one of the things I wish I'd said to myself was just to give myself a bit more belief and a bit more understanding of what it is that I'm taking on. But I think with I was lucky in that I had you know, amazing. I still have an amazing family, a good network, and I've got very close friends and a very supportive girlfriend. And I think that really helps you carrying on what you're doing. And I think I remember you know, my late father said to me about 4 or 5 years ago. He said, you know, make sure that whatever you do, make sure that you have a little bit of recognition within yourself that you're doing something right, but just don't be arrogant about it, and don't show off. Just kind of appreciate that you can do something and try and get on with it, and maintain a good level of humility. I think humility is really, really important, and I may not get it right all the time, but I try my best to stay humble, keep my feet on the ground, and that's what I'd say to any kind of young. And when I mean young, I mean like a kid, you know, pre-teenager who wants to think about maybe going into the world, whether you want to be the best drummer or rock guitarist or classical singer or a jazz singer who plays trumpet, whatever it is. Just you know, always believe in yourself. And if there are people that are doubting you, it's probably because they weren't given the great opportunities that you're being given, and they didn't have the love and nurturing support that you have in your life. That's what I'd say.
I have to say, it's the first time in 38 episodes that I moved. No, honestly, Freddie, thank you so much. I'm speechless. I thank you so much. This is very important, and it comes from a true place. I mean, I can see that you really mean what you're talking about, what you're saying, yeah. And thank you so much, Freddie. I honestly, I have no words. I'm speechless. It's the first time in 38 episodes. I have my heart is beating so hard, so fast at the moment. Wow, wow! Thank you so much, Freddie. This is very inspiring, and I'm sure you will be such an icon of the musical industry, of the music industry. I'm sure, Freddie. I'm quite sure. I mean, you're already very very inspiring, but also very, I don't know, I don't find the right words, I believe, but everybody that met you and I had a chance to talk to them, they always talk about you in such a nice way, and everybody's impressed by different things, but you really made a mark into them, you know. And I'm sure you will be one of those icons of the music industry. And I'm so glad to know you, and that you were able to do this podcast today, even though it's a very small project, but it's very important for some of us.
No, well, I really appreciate you having me, and I really wanted to make the time to make this happen, because I really love the connection that we have, and obviously with Jose and Juan, you know, being in Valencia, and then, you know, back in, you know, October of 2022 when we had that concert in Hampstead. It's really lovely, and I'm always happy to jump on and give another talk and a Q&A. It's really funny because it was just 4 or 5 days ago I was doing something not too dissimilar, but in person. Okay. And I always love these sorts of things, and I don't ever get to do them that often, because I think it's great to see gigs and concerts and see what people can do, but I think it's also really important to know the actual person, like what we're doing right now, just speaking and talking. I think it's very refreshing and good to have.
Absolutely. You know? This is exactly why I'm building up this project, and I wish I could do it in person. I mean, they have advantages of doing it online, is that I can interview people that are living in the United States, for example, or, you know, all over the place, and it's very flexible. But in person is obviously very different. But who knows? Maybe one day I'll have a little studio.
Oh, that would
be
amazing. Pietro, you have to make it happen, my friend. You have to make it happen.
I know. You gotta help me, though. Thank you so much, Freddie. And again, please do, guys, follow him on social medias and look at his website. He has all the gigs up there, dates where he's going to perform. And he's doing this tour with Bond again, which is incredible. And I'm sure he's having so much fun. So when Freddie has fun, you really want to hear him sing, listen to him, you know. And yeah, thank you so much again. And I hope to see you soon in London for maybe a gig, or
please,
just a
coffee. No, you're always welcome. Seriously, let me know when you want to come to a show, and I'll organise a ticket for you. That's no problem. But as you say, I want to say in Italian, è sempre un piacere parlare con te.
Grandissimo, grandissimo. Sei un grande. Grazie mille.
No, prego.
Thank you, Freddie. Thank you so much.
See you soon. Care. Bye. See you. Cheers. Take care.
What a lovely human being. I mean, it's honestly, as I was saying, it's the first time in 38 episodes that you know, I always ask this at the end of every chat, a little suggestion, a little tip that the musician or the person who I'm interviewing would like to give to a younger generation. And if you missed it, please do look back and watch it back, because what he said is so important, to believe in yourself. But the way he said it, honestly, I don't want to steal any words from his from his mouth. So I really do want you to watch it back. And thank you so much for following, by the way. It's always a pleasure to see that so many are giving feedbacks and putting hearts and giving comments, and it's always very nice to have these chats with my friends. And yes, obviously follow Freddie on social media right now if you don't, and go to his gigs if it happens for you to be in London or in the UK. He does travel a lot in Europe, as you can see, to Spain, Italy, France, but mainly he works in the UK. Yeah. So thank you so much for following, and I'll see you next Sunday for a very special episode, and it will be in person because it's not in the UK. So I'll be traveling. I'll be traveling. So I'll go to Spain next week. So the next episode will be in person with a very special guest that you will love, I'm sure. Filippo, hi Filippo, how are you? Thank you for your for your nice comment. See you next Sunday. Bye bye.